Okay, Assalamualaikum. Today I will present you about assignment 2. My title is distance measurement, resistive sensor versus capacitive sensor. My ID number is 21069 and my name is Ahmad Salahuddin bin Amir. Okay, what is a resistive sensor? A resistive sensor is a type of sensor that changes its electrical resistance in response to a physical stimulus such as pressure, force, temperature, or light. The change in resistance is that correlated to the magnitude of the applied stimulus. Resistive sensors are widely used in various applications for measuring and monitoring different environmental and physical parameters. What is a capacity sensor? A capacity sensor is a type of sensor that measures change in capacitance to detect the presence or proximity of an object. Capacitance is the ability of a system to store an electrical charge, and its capacitive sensor change in capacitance are used to trigger a response. These sensors are commonly used in various applications including touchscreen, proximity sensing, and object detection. Okay, what is a resistive do? A resistive sensor change their electrical resistance in response to a physical stimulus such as a pressure, force, temperature, or light. The change in resistance is then correlated to the magnitude of the applied stimulus. Here are common application and function of resistive sensor. First is a pressure and force sensing. It pressure and force sensing application when subject to the mechanical strain such as pressure force, the electrical resistance of the strain gauge change proportionally. Second is temperature sensing. Thermistor, thermally sensitive resistor, and resistant temperature detector like RTDS, a type of resistive temperature device. Their resistance change with temperature, allowing them to be used as temperature sensor in various applications. Second is a light sensing. Photoresistor or light dependent resistor LDR resistive sensor that change their resistance based on the intensity of light falling on them. They are commonly used for the light sensing application. Last is humidity sensing. Resistive humidity sensor use a resistive element and change its resistance with variation in humidity. These sensors are employed in application where monitoring and controlling humidity level are crucial. Okay, for the what is a capacitive sensor do is capacitive sensor are versatile device that perform various functions depending on their application. Here are some common action and application for the capacitive sensor. First is a touch sensing. Capacitive sensors are widely used in touchscreen for devices such as smartphone, tablet, and touch sensitive control panel. When a conductive object like a finger come close to the touchscreen, it disrupts the capacitive field, enabling touch input. Secondly is a proximity sensing. Capacitive sensor can detect the presence of an object or a person without direct physical contact. Proximity sensor in smartphone, automatic fog, and lightning system often use capacitive technology. Third is gesture recognition. In applications such as interactive display or gaming console, capacity sensors are utilized for gesture recognition. Change in capacitor pattern caused by a specific hand movement or gesture can be interpreted as a command. Lastly is liquid level sensing. Capacity sensor can be employed to measure the level of liquid in container. The change in capacitor due to the presence of liquid is used to determine the liquid level. Okay, for how the resistive sensor work, the resistive sensor like strain gauge or thermistor operate based on attenuation in electrical resistance when subject to specific stimulus. This sensor provide a reliable means of measuring physical parameters including pressure, force, temperature, light, humidity, and gas concentration. To the discernible change in resistance, they have as exhibit the mechanism varies depending on the sensor type. With strain gauge deforming under mechanical strain, thermometer responding to temperature variation, photoresistor adapting to light intensity, and resistive humidity sensor interacting with moisture level Overall, resistive sensor offer a versatile solution for monitoring and control applications across the diverse industry. For the how capacitive sensor works, capacitive sensor operate through the creation of an electric field between two conductive surfaces, with disruption of this field by object causing change in capacitor. This change measured by the sensor are then utilized for diverse applications including touchscreen, where the touch of a finger of a test capacitance and proximity sensing, which enable detection of object without a physical contact. Additionally, capacity sensor excel in gesture recognition, distinguishing specific pattern or capacitance change caused by the hand movement, showcasing their versatility in interactive technology. For the range of detection for the both sensor is a first resistive sensor have a detection range 1 millimeter to over 100 millimeter. Resistive sensor that measure displacement like potentiometer can detect over a long range based on the length of resistive element. Smaller resistive sensor like strain gauge for stress detection have range of 1 until 5 millimeter. Lastly, the resistive temperature sensor can measure over the distance by pressing the resistive element at the end of thermal conductor. Detection range is limited by conductor length. For the capacity sensor, detection range is 1 millimeter to 30 millimeter. And having very short range compared to resistive sensor. Capacitive proximity sensor typically have a 2 until 30 millimeter range. Capacitive level sensor measuring fluid level in tank have range up to 3 until 4 meters. Lastly is capacitive pressure sensor measure pressure variation across the parallel plates separate by 1 until 5 millimeter distance. Okay, for the application of both sensor is for the resistive sensor, it has a temperature sensing, displacement sensing, flow and level sensing. For the capacitive sensor, it has a level sensing, pressure sensing, and position sensing. Okay, for the sensitivity, first we go to the resistive temperature sensor. RTDS, or we can call resistive temperature detectors, typically sensitive of 0.15 ohm or Celsius to 0.40 ohm. Thermistor, it very high sensitivity, can be up to 5% change in resistance per Celsius. Resistive displacement sensor, it for the potentiometer, nearly infinite resolution possible, limit only by wiper contact noise. For the strain gauge, sensitive to microstrains, 10 until 6 gauge factor up to 100, up to 200. For the capacity pressure sensor, can detect sub PSI, or we can call pounds per square inch pressure change. MEMS capacitive sensor offers sensitivity better than 0.01 psi. For the capacity accelerometer, can have a sensitivity less than 1 milligram or in 10 or 3 gram. Resolve acceleration change less than 0.01 milli per second. Capacitive laser sensor, it interface RF and optical capacitive sensor offer nanometer scale resolution. Okay, for the advantages, both sensor, resistive and capacitive. For the resistive sensor, it's simple configuration, require the basic DC excitation and measurement of resistance, easy to set up and use. Second, it low cost, simple construction for readily available material, make them inexpensive. Third, high accuracy and linearity, provide very precise and linear measurement across wide operating range. Lastly, for the resistive sensor, good dynamic response, like capable of tracking rapid measuring change due to the low mass and quick resistance change. Okay, for the capacitive sensor, its high sensitivity can detect sub-nanometer displacement due to minute capacitance change produced. Non-contact operation, capacitance sensor can perform non-contact detection unlike resistive contact. Third is the silent. Capacitive sensor undergo negligible where the tier as there are no moving contacts. Lastly, it enables geometry. Capacitor plate size and separation can be set up to customize sensitivity. Okay, thank you. That's all for me.